Welcome back, everybody. Sorry we missed you on Thursday, but some things happened, and you know how it is. I promise it wasn't because. Jed, we're not supposed to. We're not gonna tell them we're gonna take over the world. Well, I mean, yeah, but wouldn't that kind of defeat the fun part of just sneaking you? Well, all right, fine. We would not make very good TV. Well, okay, Jed might make really good TV villains, but that's what we're talking about today. I would be terrible at it. And mind you, trying to decide what TV villains we wanted to talk about was a nightmare. We had a list of 20 plus. Well, 20 plus. Both of us decided to narrow our stuff down, went down to 20, and it just took forever. I mean, look at that background. Look at that background. He's totally an evil villain. So we narrowed it down to 6 villains. However, we got to throw out some honorable mentions. We have 5 honorable mentions for you that they're odd part of our list, but you know what? We're gonna go ahead and throw it. Go ahead, Jed. Go ahead and talk about the first one. Give me 1 second. Kentucky Fried Zuko. Man, you already finished. I didn't even get to hear it all. Uh, he went from king to Phoenix Emperor. Is that what it was? And then he got dethroned by a 13-year-old. Mm, one. The one man. I had no idea Mark Hamill played him, by the way. That threw me off. I just realized I never transitioned. Okay, I gotta show the picture. Here's the picture, everybody. Here's the picture of Ozai when he was crowned. Yeah, and the thing is, though, is that you're right because you would expect. I mean, he's a guy who burned his son's face. He manipulated his daughter to become insane, and then by the end of the movie, you start feeling bad for her. Show, bad for the show. Yeah. Anyways, If you binge watch it, it's a movie at that point, right? But yeah, moving on. You know more about it, but I got to throw this out there. This is from Twin Peaks, so those who have seen it, and he's scary. Hey, Jed, I'm gonna interrupt you for a second. I just saw in chat they can't hear you, so let me play around. It's probably my side. Thank you. Sorry, Isaiah. Let me figure out what's going on with that. I may just have to switch to my older headphones. Drop down my quality. Just like, all right. I can't hear you. 1 second. Don't mind that. You don't need to see that. You don't need to see
It's just go into the strange technical things that I don't understand.
Oh, that button. That's what I'm looking for. Hey, I can hear you. No, just one second. Like that. Go down here. Don't mind me just using my settings. This is live, everybody. Woohoo! Okay. Something I can't fix in post. Blah, 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 blah. Can you hear me? I can.
Dude.
Why'd I name these all different? Boo. Okay. Now, let's try this. Okay, what about now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can the audience hear us?
Can chat hear us? Chat! Oh, yay, we got the 3 thumbs up.
Victory!
We need to take that, evil villains, known as my
I can't remember.
soundboard.
I don't remember which one of these is victory. I don't remember my World War II history. Because one of these is victory, and one
I know
of these
from Daddy Daycare it's this.
One of these is victory. One of these is the British slang for up yours. So.
Oh shoot, my internet's cutting out. Okay, mute that. For some reason, the chat doc is not showing up on my on my screen, and I don't know why. So I have to like actually hop on YouTube and watch our own stream.
All right. If everything's solved, do we want to pick up, real quick with Ozai, Bob, and just keep going from there. Blast through our honorable mentions.
Yes.
All right, tell us about Ozai.
Okay. Wait, we already talked. Oh, yes.
Yeah, because they couldn't hear me, remember?
I couldn't hear you. Okay, Ozai. Ozai, my dude. Now I got to get everything set up again. Bloop, bloop. Okay, Ozai from the Avatar: The Last Airbender. Great series, a Nickelodeon cartoon. But this guy, you don't actually see his face. He's the Fire Nation Lord. You don't see his face until... It was the last season, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't see his face till the last season. And it's towards the end of the season, too. So you got these 3 different seasons.
It's in the first episode of the third season.
It was?
Yeah, it was in Zuko goes to his father, he's behind all the fire, giving this evil monologue. He comes through the fire, this big reveal, and just a face.
Oh,
person.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It's been a while since I've watched I usually watch the second season more. On repeat, just because I like the Earth Kingdom. They're fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, look at this guy. It's just this random, just normal Fire Nation dude.
T-posing like a king, like a Phoenix King.
Like the Phoenix King. That's such a dumb. But portrayed by Mark Hamill. He does a great job. And he is like the worst fictional father character ever.
Yeah, he's
burns his own son, makes his daughter go insane by manipulating her. It's just terrible.
Yep. All right. So let's move on real quick. Blast through, the other honorable mention we covered. Bob from Twin Peaks, also known as Killer Bob. This guy is an evil, otherworldly spirit who possesses humans on Earth so that he can walk the mortal realm. And all he does on Earth, his sole purpose in life, is to feed on human suffering. So he will do anything, not to kill, not to maim, just to make people suffer, to make them have these awful feelings. Like he single-handedly ruined the town of Twin Peaks that he's, the eponymous city that this series is named after. And he's awful. And in the show, he's an allegory for the evils of incest and sexual abuse. And it makes me uncomfortable just thinking about him. But I mean, he's probably the only television villain to actually scare me. And he's horrifying. I don't like thinking about him, but gotta mention him. He's great.
The little bits that Jed has told me about, I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
And with our current list, I'm like, we should only have 2 psychopaths.
but he's not even a psychopath. He doesn't, you only hear him speak most of the time. No, you only speak him here here and there a few times. Most of the time, he's just smiling and laughing and taking such joy in human suffering. He's terrible.
I think the only reason why I think he's psychopath is just this picture. This picture is just disturbing. Look him in the eyes.
That's in the scene.
Tell me you're not afraid.
In the series that scene is taken from, that's literally just him laughing at himself as he looks in the mirror as he's waiting for someone to come home so he can kill them, just for fun. Just waiting.
What do you feel like doing today? I feel like killing somebody. Why not?
Yeah, that's Bob.
That is terrifying.
Uh-huh.
Well, another terrifying character, but not as, I would say, demonic. I think that's a proper way to say it.
A little more human.
And actually, you never know, we may see him soon in the Marvel universe.
Some sort of Marvel show that's currently running. I don't know which one.
I think it's something to do with Legolas.
No, it's Katniss, remember?
Oh, Katniss.
He's in the first episode.
That's right.
The second episode.
Legolas and Katniss together. I'm talking about the crime lord. Daredevil's nemesis, Wilson Fisk.
Oh, also look at that bad man.
It's funny. I really like this picture. When I was looking, I was like, oh, yeah, that says crime boss. But this man, he is like a giant child with superhuman strength.
Yeah.
And the reason why he made it on the list is because he may act like a child, but he is brilliant as far as running an underground ring.
He's so many things, like all at once. He's a monster who's only barely in control of himself. He punches a man to death using his fist, just like, hey, can I borrow your jacket? Throws it on his face, punches him to death. just so he didn't want to get his hands dirty. He's also a man who thinks he's saving his city. He goes on a monologue about the Good Samaritan. He talks about how his whole life he thought he was, the Samaritan, but he's come to realize he's not the priest, nor is he the Levite, nor even the Samaritan. He is the man of ill intent. But he's also just a scared little boy who wants to be free from his father. All of those things all at once.
Which he killed his father with blunt force, with a hammer.
Yeah, he was an abusive father, and he killed him. But when he killed him with slamming his face in with the hammer, it kind of stunted his emotional growth. From that point on, he never matured. Instead, he's just been that child acting how he thinks grown-ups act. And it's treated him very well, but sometimes he breaks. And when he does, he's just that same child.
So chat just wait, Aaron, is that hey? Well, cool. He just said, I don't know if you can read the chat, Jed, but he's like, we got Mr. Clean. yeah, I would say he kind of looks like a grumpy Mr. Clean.
Yeah.
These streets are gonna get clean now.
That's his goal. He loves his neighborhood. He loves his city.
It's interesting that he says that because when I was watching the thing about Daredevil, let's call him Mr. Clean. No,
Wilson Fisk.
Wilson Fisk.
Kingpin.
He has this picture that he really loves, and when he's fighting Daredevil, gets it all bloodied up. That kind of it kind of ruins the image.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the guy in the analysis video was talking about it, he's like, Wilson loves this picture, but now it's been stained with his blood. And as far as Mr. Clean goes, that's actually a really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of symbolism in the series. It's all about religion and justice and mercy and guilt and trauma, and it's incredible. I love Daredevil. It's a great series.
10 out of 10 would recommend, except the fact I haven't watched it and I don't want to get Netflix. But if you have Netflix, watch it.
Yes, please do. And if you don't know, watch Daredevil season 1, watch Daredevil season 2, watch The Defenders, then Daredevil season 3.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yep. All right, let's move on to our next one. This is the Napoleon of crime, the arch nemesis of everything when it comes to, masterminds of, all of these, great detectives and heroes we love. This is Moriarty from Sherlock, a man who's so brilliant, even in defeat manages to checkmate the world's greatest detective. I mean, look at him, sitting like a pimp on his throne. He's wearing the royal crown jewels. He just breaks in, listening to music, surrounded by the greatest forces in all of Britain. Pauses his music. Oh, no rush. Oh, what a pimp.
That scene, the whole setup for him is hilarious. And it's not exactly what you would expect because you got, if you've seen the Robert Downey Jr. movies, Moriarty there, he wants to stay behind the scenes. In this Moriarty, he wants to play with Sherlock. He wants to just kind of mess with him up. Because it's like, oh, world's greatest detective? Ooh, let's play a game.
Yeah, most depictions of Moriarty don't care about Sherlock. They just want to get rich. They just want to be brilliant and do all the different things. But then like, Sherlock's he's stopping me a few times too many. He's a danger to my my enterprise. So let's take him off the chessboard real quick. But Sherlock, or Moriarty in the show Sherlock, he is obsessed with Sherlock Holmes. He knows that he's the only one who could potentially rival his intellect and his mind. And so he is obsessed with making sure he proves once and for all that he's smarter than Sherlock Holmes. And he might have done it with what he does. I don't want to. I don't know. Do you want to spoil what happens at the end? Do you want me to say it? Are we going to ignore it?
Why don't you guys go watch it?
Yes, go watch it for yourself.
It's nothing
brilliant.
to do with the fact I don't remember.
It's the ultimate checkmate. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to kind of segue into that, you see what I was doing? Oh, you couldn't see what I was doing there. It was down here. Well, that ruined the effect. Because our next person is a lot better at doing this. The next honorable mention I'm talking about is Mr. Burns.
Smithers, release the hounds.
Having this picture up and you talk like that, Jed, I think you should be the next one. Next Mr. Burns.
I would love to be Montgomery Burns. He is so over the top evil. Recent Simpsons isn't as good as older Simpsons. There are still some funny moments though. There's a moment where he goes back to an old college, the college where he went to, and he's astonished and horrified to see how woke and progressive this college has become. And it gets to a point where some students start protesting. They yell at him that he's a Nazi, and he says, "Oh, don't flattery will get you nowhere."
And I love how he has the cameras all over his complex just to watch people. And he's like, "What's Simpson doing? Take care of him.
What is he doing?" Is like one of my favorite episode of The Simpsons, Homer's Enemy. There's a man who has had everything in life just taken from him and has to fight for every moment of his life. Like, he wasn't just orphaned, he was abandoned on the streets by his parents. And then he grew up homeless, he worked his way through college. And even when he graduated from college and got his diploma, a hawk came down to steal his diploma away from him. Everything is awful. And, Mr. Burns sees him on television like, "That's the greatest story I've ever heard. I want that sort of man working in my plant. Smithers, go hire him." Walks in with him. "Who are you? I don't know who you are. Give him some sort of job down at the thing. I don't want him anywhere near running my plant." Because he's so evil that he's like, "That man's great. Not great enough for me to remember or care who he is. Who are you? I don't care that you're great. Get out of here."
He's wonderful. Great. Hire him. Congratulations, you hired a guy. Now put him down there. I don't even know who he is. I need to hire new people.
He's so evil. He blocked out the sun to hold sunlight ransom. Oh man, he's incredible. I love him.
Talk about quick get rich quick schemes. This man knows what he's doing. So I mean, your HOA programs, forget it. Simpsons got
he is like, he was, he's kind of like Mr. Plinkett, where he's like, "Oh, I was born in 1903. I was I remember I was about 95 when World War I happened. Let me tell you, those were the good old days of evil." And he's just so incredibly ancient and evil. Nothing could ever surprise him, but he's also so frail. He's like, "All right, Smithers, come get me out of bed. I need you to do it 1 inch at a time. Otherwise, each one of my rib joints will break and shatter."
Dude, Smithers has got to be like, there's got to be something holding him there.
Oh, he's gay. Yeah, in the early part of the show, that was always the joke. It was always, "Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, I whatever you say, sir." But then they came out and said it, and you're like, "Yeah, he's gay." And like, well, it's not quite as funny now if you just say it. It's the joke that he doesn't admit he's gay, even though everyone knows he is. But whatever. That's another rant for me to go on. That we'll leave it at that. Montgomery Burns, what a legend.
Well, I mean, talking about like being able to control an entire society through trade.
Yeah.
Our next one. Now that we're moving on to our actual list, by the way, these guys made the top 6.
These are our favorite TV villains of all time, and
mind you, not in order from best to like.
No, this is not best to worst. This is just a whole bunch of different ones, big old variety of all the different things they can be.
And the first one comes from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. No, we're not talking about Anakin.
It's Jar Binks.
Jar Jar, the greatest villain of all the lore.
Yes.
No. If you didn't guess it, he's also in that picture. That's right, Darth Maul. Oh, so I gotta throw this out there. When the Phantom Menace came out, I ruined the tape back in the day. Back in the day of tapes. I ruined it because we were
watching it so
often. Because I was like, this is so cool. Not to mention, Darth Maul was so cool. He only said, like, what, 2 lines?
I counted it. It's 2 lines, and I think it's 55 words in total. That's it.
Ooh, he broke the 2 digits.
He says it's something like, Tatooine is a sparsely inhabited planet. I'll go seek them out. And then, "You've done well. Alas, we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. Alas, we will have revenge." That's it. That's his total, the sum up of all of his character. He wasn't a character in The Phantom Menace. He was an action figure. He was there to look cool, which he did, and have a great fight scene, which, again, he did.
Which I gotta say, Star Wars does this a lot, because look at Boba Fett.
Yeah.
He was originally just a random bounty hunter.
Yeah, they made up a new character because, in the original Star Wars movie, Darth Vader was just a henchman, but they were starting to make him like this evil Dark Lord. There's like, yeah, but we still need a henchman to do this thing in the story, so we'll make up a new henchman. Thus Boba Fett.
we need to find a Sith Lord to kind of reveal themselves, and then work our way to make an Obi-Wan the teacher for the Jedi Master for Anakin. So they're like, all right, well, what about this guy? What about this dude?
And like, all right, he looks cool. Throw him in there. And then they kill him off, or so you think. And years later, they started talking about, what if we brought him back in the Clone Wars? Now, here's something, this little piece of trivia that I love. The actor who voices him in the Clone Wars, Sam Witwer, he's this huge Star Wars nerd. When he was in college, he was talking with a whole bunch of his friends saying, like, what would it be like if Maul survived getting chopped in half and falling down all that? You know what? He'd probably be really bitter that Palpatine rejected him and said, all right, that appendix was trash. What do the Jedi have? Ooh, that kid looks good. I'll use Dooku for the time being. And so he's going to be like all wrapped up inside. He's going to be kind of insane after all these years of surviving. This burning hatred and desire for revenge is all that's keeping him alive. It's just this obsession. He's coming back to kill Kenobi, to take back his place at his master's side, all that stuff. Then what happens when the show rolls around? Exactly that.
I gotta throw this out there, Jed. That was great. It sounded like Mr. Burns was Darth Sidious.
I mean,
that's
they
gonna
do
be the
bear
voice for like all the villains
resemblance.
now. That's true. Both brilliant masterminds.
Yes.
But that threw me off there for a moment. Just the yes, Skywalker.
But then Clone Wars, I'm not nearly as big a fan of Clone Wars as Robert is, but man, Maul, they gave him some serious depth. They made him amazing character.
And I think what was great about it too is that in the Phantom Menace, you see him and it's like, oh, he's just a cool Sith. In the Clone Wars, you kind of see, oh, there's a reason why Palpatine had him in the first place. Is because he's Force sensitive. He knows what he's doing. And honestly, it was kind of just like plot armor that kept Obi-Wan from dying in the Phantom Menace. Whereas, but they build it up in the Clone Wars like, oh no, oh yeah, Obi-Wan knows what he's doing too. But how much in tune with the Force Darth Maul is, to where he's like, then towards the 7th season, oh, Anakin is the tool. He's the reason why everything's gonna fall. He's putting all these pieces together after losing his empire that he built under Sidious's nose. Yeah. And the Jedi's nose.
And I love how he's been compared to the mythological character of Sisyphus. For those of you who don't know, Sisyphus was a person who was not the greatest in life, and so he was cursed in the underworld as punishment for all eternity. He is trapped on a hill. And he has a boulder. He has to roll the boulder up the hill. Once he rolls the boulder all the way up to the top of the hill, he can leave. That's it. That's his punishment. But it's cursed. Every time he's about to get the boulder up to the top of the hill, it will roll back down. He will never, for all eternity, he will never get it up to the top. He's going to be enslaved, pushing it up forever. And Maul is Sisyphus. He rose to the heights of the Sith apprentice, cut down the second time he ever fights a Jedi. He's climbing back up in the Clone Wars, making this criminal enterprise, becomes the ruler of the planet Mandalore, defeated by his master. Gets free and is going to destroy his master's plan, destroyed by a random Padawan she's not even a Jedi anymore.
He was expecting Kenobi.
Yeah.
For those who've seen it, that's hilarious.
In Rebels, you keep seeing him coming back until he's finally defeated, and he has this obsession to him where he knows it is his fate in the galaxy to suffer. He is, the galaxy's, its whipping boy. Is just there to be kicked and take punishments for everyone else. But he doesn't accept his fate. He knows that he can do it, even though he knows he's also always destined to fail.
Which, when you follow him as a character, that it makes such huge depth, and when you see where he started from nothing, he became something.
He goes from 55 words to great Shakespearean monologues like, let me tell you the depths of pain that I have suffered and how I'm going to put it on to you, and how there's this great evil scheme going on. You have no clue what is going on, and it's tragic. It will be your downfall. But I know the secret, and I will help you if you help me. And He's great.
Yeah, really good. And speaking of great, Jed.
All right, we'll move on to what many people have called the greatest TV villain of all time. It's weird. This actor, he wasn't in a whole lot. He was cast as this villain, and he was only going to be in the show for like 2 episodes. He was so good, he ended up being the main villain for like 3 seasons. And now, if you're watching a show, playing a video game, there's probably a 50-50 shot that he's the villain in it. I'm talking about Giancarlo Esposito as Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. I mean, yeah, you've all seen the memes recently of, you do this, I do this. We are not the same. This man is scary. And he's one of the things that scares me the most about him. He doesn't seem scary. You watch Breaking Bad, you see all these different villains like Tuco Salamanca. He's a crazy drug lord who uses his own meth. You watch him beat people to death in front of him just for saying the wrong things. He's scary. You see, all these different people who shoot you, try and stab you with a shard of a ceramic dish. You meet Gus. Hello, I'm happy to help you. He's so friendly and warm. He smiles, but his eyes never smile. He doesn't care about drugs for money. He doesn't care about it for power or anything like that. He just wants to be good at what he does and never be caught. He's a careful man who wants to take revenge for a general in the Mexican drug cartel, and he wants to expand his reach and his power so he can say that no one does what he does better than him. But he doesn't care about anyone, not even himself. He doesn't want to be seen as the greatest. He just wants to know deep inside he is. You watch him slit a man's throat with a box cutter. No emotion whatsoever. Walk out of the room, but before he does, he turns around to all the people who just watched him kill a man in cold blood and say, well, get back to work. The man is insane.
Well, and what makes him so insane, too, is the fact that there is no major thing to it. He's just like, I just want to be the best.
In many ways, it's not that he's insane. It's just he is rational to the extreme. He feels nothing. When he wants someone to stop screwing around and just make meth like he hired him to do, what does he do? He drags him out into the desert and say, there will be no second chances. If you do not do what I say, I will not just kill you. I will kill your wife. I will kill your son. I will kill your infant daughter. And what else can you say to that? He's just like, yeah, I'll kill them. I don't care. Just keep making product. I hired you to do a job. Do it.
And it's crazy because he not only has this whole network of drug cartel stuff, he owns another business on the top. So he's got this cover business that actually does make a pretty good money.
He owns a fast food chain called Los Pollos Hermanos. He uses this special chicken recipe that he learned from his mother in Chile. And it's wonderful. He has a very friendly and public image. He goes around, he donates money to charities. He goes supports local, DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, fun runs and stuff like that. All the cops know him because he loves the cops. He supports the cops because you would never suspect the man who is that friendly and warm and supportive of the police.
Jed's over here like, I hope I never run into anyone like that.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen Breaking Bad, I won't say what happens. For those of you who have, he has a mind-blowing, arc at the end, just seeing where it goes. It's insane. And I won't say anything more other than just
No bad me, but in my tie.
Just straighten my tie. Gotta look good. That's what all those memes are for, right? Right?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll ask Reddit.
Yes.
They definitely know.
I don't know what those Gus Fring memes about, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask.
I almost feel like it's probably from the Far Cry.
It may be. I think there's Gus Fring. I don't recognize him wearing that suit, but it's Gus Fring. He's scary.
Is it the white suit with the?
Yeah.
That's Far Cry. So he's the big bad boss in the new Far Cry game.
Yeah, he is.
Hence why we were talking about him being an incredible actor for a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, one of the advertisements for that game that I saw, just on a side note, it was just such a great pitch. Everyone knows him for playing, him for playing great villains, whether he's Stan Edgar in The Boys, or Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian, or Gus Fring in Breaking Bad. This ad for this game is just like, you all know me for playing great villains, but this time, I'm not going up against this kind of hero or that kind of hero. I'm going up against a different kind of hero. You.
Now, if that doesn't terrify you at first, without realizing it's a game, I don't know what, like, oh, Check's closet.
Yeah, he's scary.
Another person that's scary.
Ooh.
I mean, and he's a good cook, apparently.
A man of culture.
A man of culture, and a very good psychiatrist.
Great therapist. If you have a problem, he will help you.
And that would be Hannibal the Cannibal. My light just went out. That was good timing. Here, go ahead. Keep looking at Hannibal. Hey, Jed, do you want to give a little? Sorry, I'm passing this off to you.
Yeah, this is Hannibal Lecter is the only villain to make both our greatest television villains list and also our greatest movie villains list. He's the epitome of high society. He's refined. He loves good music, and he's good at making it too. He knows how to play the theremin. Anyone who knows what that is, you know how hard it is to play the theremin. He's brilliant. He works with the police. He's a great psychiatrist and therapist for anyone. He tries to help them. He does all these wonderful things, and he is the greatest cook you could ever imagine. He's also a serial killer. He's not a serial killer who's like, oh, look at those beautiful young virgins, I'm going to go kill them or whatever. No. If someone is rude to him, if somebody says something that he doesn't like or annoys him in some way, he'll just take note of it. And someday when he's feeling a little nippy, he's a little hungry, wants a little snack, he'll go hunt them down. They will never be seen again. And he will make the most exquisite meal imaginable from somebody who was quite rude, a waste of space and breath on this earth. What makes him scariest to me, he sees himself above humans, above people. He recognizes he's human, of course. Like a human, do we ever feel guilty about stepping on an ant, flushing a spider down the toilet? No. Why? Because we're humans. We are superior to them. It doesn't matter what we do to them, good or bad. You can raise an ant farm as pets. You can flush them down the toilet, whatever. Doesn't matter. Not because the action matters, but because we are better than them. And he sees himself as an apex predator in his element who is going to hunt and kill or help and nurture however he pleases. It doesn't matter because he is superior to everyone. That is how he sees himself.
I mean, not gonna lie, I know I just hopped back into this conversation, but like this picture, he looks like he's superior.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got that aura of like. Is that
because Mads Mikkelsen for a reason. Yeah, I mean, he just exudes refinement, sophistication, class, elegance. But also, it's not like, oh, hello, I'm a sissy boy. He also is quite masculine. He knows how to kill, how to hunt. He's his own butcher. He's excellent in a fight. He's intelligent, bold, domineering, but never overbearing. He's in many ways what people think of as, perfect masculinity. The only problem is he's a shark in a human skin suit. He's the devil. He is doing everything he does to tempt people to be like him or to get them in his snares, kill them, and make sure that, they're not annoying anymore.
What's the name of there's the name of the book? Is it
The Silence of the Lambs,
the
Red
Game? No,
the Most Dangerous Game.
The Most Dangerous Game. I feel like Hannibal Lecter would do a great job in that game.
Absolutely.
He would not be the one who is the host.
For sure.
But, like, I don't know, the scene I watched with him in it...
It's a scene where Hannibal Lecter, is in a therapy session with this associate of his, who's the main character of the series, Hannibal. And he talks about how, God is wonderful. God is terrific. God kills all the time. He doesn't feel guilty about it. He's God. And he's quite good at it too. Everything he says is true, but all to lead you down the path of accepting the conclusion, it's okay if I kill, if I'm better than everyone else. Maybe I should be like Hannibal.
It's terrifying because he uses like these little bits of things that we hear, the truths that we know, and turns it to tell you, I'm justified in what I do. And it's like,
and he's very convincing.
Right. You keep telling yourself that.
And it's not just, the lifestyle that he lives that, like, look at the way he cooks, the way he listens to music, everything. I want to be like him. The way he speaks about what he does and why he does it justifies what he does, at least in his mind. And it's a very seductive, philosophy. The idea that if I can make sure I'm better than everyone else, then whatever I do to everyone else who I'm better than is okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I have nothing more to say. It's just, except for a really lame joke, but I don't know if I should.
Say it.
Would it be terrible if you opened up a milkshake shop and you were like, I'd like the Hannibal special? And he's like, yeah, here's a handshake.
That's wonderful. Here, I will say this on the topic of really dark, things about Hannibal and cooking. Watching the show Hannibal and watching him cook inspired me to learn how to how to cook, to take up cooking.
I remember watching a scene of him cooking. And I was like, wow, that was before I knew it was Hannibal Lecter. I literally just saw the scene. I'm like, that actually looks like really good food.
Yeah, like you watch him cook human lungs.
Was it you who told me?
And you look at it and say, I'm not interested in eating humans, nor am I interested in eating the lungs of any animal. That looks really good.
Well, it's just coming from two guys who ate hog fries without realizing it until towards the end.
Ugh, yeah.
And if you know what that is, let us know in the comments below. No, don't let us know.
Don't remind us.
Remind
right,
Jed.
Remind Robert. Just find him in the middle of wherever he is out and about. Just go up to him and whisper hog fries in his ears.
If you do that, I will probably die laughing and die of cardiac arrest.
All right, we want to talk about another character who's real creepy when he whispers into your ear. This guy, as Robert's pulling up who he is, getting ready for this. This guy is one of the creepiest people in any show I've ever seen. And what's all the more crazy about it, he's played by David Tennant, one of the most charming actors in the world. Who doesn't love David Tennant? Whether he's playing the Doctor or whether he's playing
Barty Crouch Jr.
Exactly. All these different things. He's great. Everyone loves him. You watch him in a dark suit with a purple tie, telling someone what to do, screaming out the name Jessica. That's right. We're talking about Kilgrave.
Which, you're going to like this picture, Jed.
Oh, he's creepy. For those of you who don't know, he's the supervillain, a villain in the show Jessica Jones. He's in the first season. And he, Jessica Jones, she's a, kind of a superhero. She's not very heroic or all that super. She has super strength enough to kind of lift up the back end of a car a little. And she can't fly, but she can jump kind of far. She can jump up like to a fire escape. So, she's stronger or cooler than either you or me, but not all that great. He, on the other hand, is incredibly powerful. His power, he tells you to do something, you do it. Like you're playing poker with him, he tells you to go all in, you think, hey, that's a great idea, let's go all in. He tells you to fold, you fold. He tells you to take a 5-meter run off of a 3-meter diving board into a pool of concrete, you'll do it. Sounds like a great idea. You want to do it.
The power of suggestion.
Oh. And it's not something he can control either. He can't turn it on or off. He tells someone like a good example to use that I've heard someone talk about before. If I had that power, I had Robert here with me and I said, hey, Robert, do you like Chinese food? Robert would be forced to answer honestly, yes or no. But if I were to say, hey, Robert, you like Chinese food, don't you? Robert, no matter if he was going to say yes or no, he would say yes, because I led with, you like Chinese food, don't you? The slightest changing of words will change everything with him. Think about what kind of parents would raise someone like that.
Who
His parents loved
created someone
Yeah.
like that?
his parents loved him. His parents tried to stay with him, but like, a toddler throws a tantrum, gets upset. He's going to say like, go away. His parents might, leave the city for the night, and they can't choose not to. One day he got angry with his mom, just like a little kid, and yelled at her, because she was ironing clothes, to, just iron your face, why don't you? Scarred her for life. Eventually they loved their son, but they couldn't take anymore. They ran away and left him forever. Forget that, yeah, they're probably justified. What does that do to him? He thinks the whole world is against him. He's alone. No one will ever love him. He had to raise himself by telling people to take care of him. He doesn't understand other people. He wants to. He thinks he's a good guy. He thinks he's a victim. He thinks he's the one that the whole world is attacking. He's just trying to survive in this deep, dark world. And this whole time, he's just begging for someone to help him, to love him, to do all these things, and doesn't understand that he's taking control away from them, making them do all these things, making them love him, making them take care of him. And he's destroying everyone he touches. Gosh, he's terrifying.
And this is one of those moments where it's like the villain isn't someone who's like all out evil. No, this is someone where it's like it's kind of a gray area. Is he really a bad guy, or is he actually the victim? I think I really like the argument he had with Jessica Jones when they were living together. Was like, I have to.
I can't tell.
Yeah, he's like, I have to be so careful with my words. I don't even know what I'm going to say could affect someone. And so he's having this argument with her of how like he can't help it, he has no choice and stuff like. He's playing the victim card, and she's kind of accusing of him.
He's a great metaphor for abuse, and that is one of the number one tricks that abusers use. I'm not the one doing bad things. I'm the victim here. You should feel sorry, but it's okay. I'll forgive you. Just stay with me and keep doing everything I tell you to do. But he doesn't realize that he's doing this, just like many abusers don't. In fact, he wants to be a good person. He sees that there's, a man has taken his family hostage. He's snapped, he's broken. And so he says, hey, Jessica, let's go save them. So he walks in, he says, hey, don't shoot us. Hey, family, you can go. I've saved you. Okay. And, you swallow your shotgun, blow your brains out. And she has to tell him, no. We're trying to be good. And he's like, well, yeah, he was threatening them. That's a good thing, to blow his brains out. He's like, yes. He is a bad person, but we're going to tell him to hand himself over to the police so that he can be tried. That's a novel idea. I love that. Man, you're just making me such a good person. No, he's not. No.
She actually asked a question like, what would you do with that power? How would you be a good guy? I'm like, I actually don't know. Like, if I was in that situation, I don't know how I'd use that power.
You could walk into North Korea and free so many people. You could stop the genocide of the Uyghur Muslims that's going on in China. You could fix every problem in the world, but you could also be behind every problem in the world.
Can you imagine how terrified that would be? Like, wait, I did that in the first place? I solved my own problem? Oops, sorry.
But it's so seductive. Like, there's a scene where he's having breakfast with Jessica out on this nice patio, and it's in the home that she grew up in. This woman used to be her neighbor, sees her, and, oh, is that Jessica Jones? Comes across the street. Oh, I remember when you were such a little girl. And he's like, oh, do tell me the stories. This is wonderful. And then she's like, oh, I remember when your family died in a car crash. I knew when they were leaving, something terrible was going to happen. I should have told you, but I didn't, and I'll have to live with that the rest of my life. He just looks at her. Did you really feel that? No. Then why would you say such an awful, terrible thing? Because I like to feel important. How many people, how often do we hate, these awful, nosy people that try and make themselves feel important, more important than they actually are, by making us feel terrible? And he just made her admit it and can make her go away forever. Not by killing herself, but just like, hey, just go back, live in your home. Just don't talk to us anymore, please. He can do that. And that desire to be able to fix everyone, just do whatever you say, just go away, leave me alone, do what I say. This idea that I know best, that That's a seductive and terrifying idea.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of people that think they know best.
Yeah, I was gonna say the next one. You talking about putting on a face?
Oh,
Homelander.
Boy.
Homelander puts on a major face as far as like being the good guy, being the one who's here to save the day. And for those of you who don't know, Homelander is from the Amazon original series, The Boys.
The Boys.
And so the most of the scenes I've seen about him are in the first
season.
First season?
There's only 2 seasons so far.
I think I've only watched a little bit of the second season, but
okay.
The biggest thing about him is it's funny because in that poster you can kind of tell like, oh yeah, something's messed up with him.
Just like his jaw, he's unhinged.
Yeah, he really is unhinged. But you get this guy who's supposed to be like Superman, and mind you, he's more than just the bad Superman. There is more.
Yes, he has super
character.
strength and he's invulnerable and he can fly and shoot lasers out of his eyes. Sure, yes, all those things are true. But I think the biggest difference for where they start, because they're both born with these incredible powers. Clark Kent is raised on a farm with Jonathan and Martha Kent, taught to be a good person. Homelander was raised in a lab, experimented on by doctors and scientists. There are stories after World War II of all these orphans being raised in like mass orphanages, and they were all being fed, they're all being taken care of. Almost all of them died because the human person, especially a child, needs love and affection in order to survive. Now, what happens if somebody who is literally incapable of dying, so can't die from that, is never given love or attention or affection? Turns him into a sick, twisted freak.
And then you got people manipulating him because they know they can. And you got this super powerful human. He could do whatever you tell him.
But not just that they know that they can. They know that if they don't manipulate them or manipulate him, he could kill them just like that. And it would mean nothing to him. You have to control him because otherwise he will kill everyone in the world.
And you see him having those thoughts too. Like at that press conference, that's probably the most gruesome scene that I remember seeing. Was he's at this press conference, he comes down, people are kind of...
Yeah. For a little backstory, there was a terrorist hostage situation somewhere in Africa, I believe. So he's like, oh, okay, cool, let me go take care of that. Flies over there, lands, sees the guy, and just lasers him through the gut, dies.
I can't do any voice effects right now, otherwise I would.
But he flies away. Didn't realize that as he was cutting the guy in half with his lasers, he also killed a child behind him. And somebody got it on video and uploaded it to the internet. And his first reaction was, it wasn't crap, I killed a child. It's, we got off the internet in time, no one saw. He doesn't care about people. He just wants people to like him. He doesn't want love. He wants validation from the masses. He wants to be the great American hero that he is told that he is, that he thinks he is. He can do whatever he wants. And what he wants is right, of course. He doesn't realize he's just empty. He's a husk of he's not even a person. He's a monster.
It created by more monsters.
Yeah.
I mean, to kind of show how little affection he really has, is that lady that I don't know the whole story. I just remember seeing the scene.
She's kind of his manager.
Yeah, so she's the one that gives this PR. She's PR.
Yeah.
Gives the public the image that they want. He has her tied up and then burns her face off. And there's nothing that the other guy can do about it because... Well,
and he did it just because he found out that, she lied to him. He found out he has a son. And to someone like him who was raised in a lab, that means a lot to him. He sees himself as, a father figure to, the fake Justice League of this world and to all the people he saves. But now he has a real son and he can take care of him. And you see him, he thinks he has superpowers. And so he's doing stuff like pushing this kid off of the top of a building and letting him
funny.
fall.
Not gonna lie, I laughed.
It's hilarious. It's really dark comedy, but it is funny. But he's doing all these terrible things to try and help make him better. But you watch him start to become a better dad just because he's trying to connect to his son. Being a father, that means a lot to him because he never had a father, he never had a mother, and so he's genuinely trying to be a good person, to raise a good son who doesn't grow up to be broken like me. And yet he still goes around massacring people. The fact that he knows he's broken and wants to fix it but can't ever, that's a scary thought.
And the way that they have this character built up, it goes to show the writing that goes into making a character is more than just like he's a bad Superman.
Yeah, he's not just evil Superman.
It's like no, he has a character that pushed him to become like this.
Mm-hmm.
Which, speaking of characters that were pushed to become like the way they were, Jed, this one's all you, man.
All right. So, let me tell you. Let's imagine, we're back in, I think the year was 2014. You're outside your apartment. It's a Sunday night, and all of a sudden people in every apartment start cheering and screaming and clapping in unison. What is going on? What one thing could inspire so much joy in all these people? It's the death of one of the most hated villains in television history. I'm talking about Joffrey Baratheon, the first of his name, King of the Andals. Look at that little punk. This kid, he's a character from the show Game of Thrones, and oh my gosh, I hate him so much. He's so evil. He's the product of incest, but to the world, he's the legitimate son of Robert Baratheon. And he's been raised by his doting mother to be told, nothing you do is wrong. You're the best. You're the greatest. And he sees himself as the dashing, charming young prince, and now the bold, strong king. And he will exercise his strength and show it to anyone, just not because he enjoys being evil, although he certainly does at times. Like he has a prostitute kill another prostitute just for fun. He has his betrothed young girl, and I don't like something he said. Hey, Knight, over there, you go beat her. Oh, wait, leave her face. I like them pretty. He took so much joy out of slaughtering her family at a wedding. Had them all killed in what's called the Red Wedding. I've heard people call it the 9/11 of television, and that includes actual 9/11 footage on television. That's how traumatizing this was, and he took so much glee in it because I'm great, I'm the king, I did it. He's just a spoiled, rotten brat. You ever known someone at work who didn't deserve the promotion they just got? Got it because of nepotism or whatever? That's Joffrey Baratheon. You ever know a rich, spoiled brat who pushed you over at the playground because it was his turn on the swing, even though he had been on the swing all afternoon, and when you got on, he pushed you right off? That's Joffrey Baratheon. He does everything he does out of sheer spite for the world because they need to recognize how amazing he is. And then he died. Poisoned at his own wedding. And it's not just, oh, I've been poisoned and falling over. No. He starts coughing. He starts choking. Blood leaking from his face, his eyes turning red, his face turning black as he starts vomiting and bile starts leaking out of his face, being held in the arms of his mother as a child dies. And the whole world was cheering, crying in relief. So much joy could not be contained. It takes a special kind of villain where that reaction is what happens with the death of a child. Oh.
It's funny. I'm looking at the picture still, and I'm like, he does kind of have a punchable face.
Oh, very much so. You actually see his uncle smack him many times. Like, before he's king, he's, talking like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that, because, this kid got crippled, but I don't care. I mean, he should just be put down because what are cripples good for anyways? His uncle slaps him. Shut your mouth. Go to his family and say how sorry you are and how terrible the situation is. When he's king, he started a riot in the streets because of how awful he was. He starts screaming, I want that person's head, as they had thrown a pile of crap at his head. And he gets brought into the gates of the castle, And his uncle, again, keep in mind, he's the king at this point. His uncle slaps him across the face. Oh, you can't do that. I'm the king. Slaps him again. And I struck the king again, and my hand did not fall from my wrist. What, shall I do it another time? This kid is awful. He doesn't understand. Well, he doesn't understand all the consequences of his actions, but he does some. Like, he has his first act as king is to take somebody who betrayed the kingdom, or at least he claims. It was actually someone trying to tell people that he's, a product of incest. He's a bastard. He has no claim to the throne. But he trots him out and says, hey, confess your crimes. Maybe I'll be merciful. He lies and says, okay, I made it up. He confesses his crimes. Keep in mind, this man is the father of the girl he's betrothed to, who's standing right there and says, he's like, all right, I'm your new king. I want to show you I'm strong. My betrothed and my mother have pled with me to give him mercy. But I'm not emotional like a woman. I am a strong, brave person who does what he wants. He turns to his executioner. Sir Ilyn, bring me his head. And he has him beheaded in front of his daughters. Makes the daughter, his betrothed, go up to the wall and look at his head on a spike for as long as he wants. Even though he knows it's going to start a civil war, he wants to do it because he wants people to know that he is the king. People must do as he says.
Meanwhile, everyone in the back is like, oh, he's played by Sean Bean. Oh, no.
Yeah, Sean Bean, great character in that show, but you have to know at the end of the day, he's Sean Bean, so he's going to die. And it's one of the greatest Sean Bean deaths there is.
Isn't it one of the most gruesome ones, too?
Not really, actually.
He's had some pretty gruesome ones, but...
Oh, he's had some very gruesome ones.
Being torn apart.
Oh, yeah, drawn and quartered by horses. That was a terrible one. No, you see him let up. You see the guy take a sword, and keep in mind, the sword he's beheaded with is actually the his family sword. So he's being beheaded with his own relic, his own heirloom. And this thing's giant. It's this giant like two-handed claymore. You just take it and you see it swing, and just as it like passes through the head, because it's down at an angle like this, you see it pass through the head and then cut. You see some birds flying off. He's gone. It's actually pretty tasteful for a show as graphic and violent as Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's why I thought that they actually showed him getting executed, because I'm like, Game of Thrones is known for.
You see no blood. You just see the swiftness of the blade and then cut. Birds fly. No blood, no gore, nothing.
And wasn't he a huge character?
He was the main character of the first season.
Oh.
And then he was beheaded in the first season at the very end.
That's where all the jokes come from about we got a main character. Game of Thrones is gonna kill him.
Game of Thrones has it has a few different people you could call main characters. One of them, Jon Snow, also killed. And Daenerys Targaryen, another main character, killed. It's a very, very graphic show where don't get it too attached to pretty much anyone. They're probably going to die a horrible, painful death, and if they don't, everyone they love is probably going to die a horrible, painful death.
Someone, one way or another, everyone's gonna die.
I mean, I love how Honest Trailers put it. In the first 3 seasons alone, Sean Bean dies, Sean Bean's wife dies, Sean Bean's, his son dies, his son-in-law dies, I think 3 of his dogs die, his several of his friends die, Sean Bean's unborn grandchild dies. Just, if you're related to Sean Bean, there's like an 80% chance that you will die.
Get out of Dodge. Ditch Game of Thrones to go to Middle Earth, because man, your lifesaver there. Faramir's still kicking.
I mean, yeah, you'll still die, but if you're related to Sean Bean, you'll make it through.
Maybe.
Well, no, even Denethor dies, so even then, it's a 50-50 shot.
Dang it, you're right.
Hey, 50-50 is better than 80%. I'll take it.
Okay, but the difference I would say there is Denethor kind of did that to himself.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the deaths of Sean Bean's family and loved ones were also brought on to themselves, but that's a discussion for another time. Yeah.
Well,
suffice it to say, Joffrey Baratheon, just the worst.
Probably the most hated villain in our list.
Yeah, I mean, people love to hate Maul. They love to hate Gus Fring, Hannibal Lecter, Kilgrave, Homelander, all these people. Joffrey Baratheon is the one, this kid retired from acting when he died on the show, just because, he was kind of set for life. He'd, been a great villain for several years and been making a lot of money. but also everyone for the rest of his life is going to know him as that kid, the worst kid ever. Like he's in Batman Begins, Batman's, he sees Batman, he's like, oh, you're real. None of my friends believe you. And so he gives him a batarang. Now, every time anyone watches that movie and they see Game of Thrones, come on, Batman, break your one rule. Kill that little piece of crap.
I need you to put that batarang in a Ben Affleck fashion.
Yes. But, the guy's incredibly friendly, nice, charming young guy who, anytime fans see him on the street, he'll be super friendly, sign anything, take a selfie. He'll reenact scenes from the series that they want to do, anything, because he knows that for the rest of his life, all of his successes will be because he was the most hateable villain of all time. And so he wants to have great relationships with his fans.
Man, I would hate that role, but good on him. Good on him.
Yeah.
I mean, and from an actor standpoint, he obviously did a great job considering everyone hated him.
He gave one of the greatest performances on that show. And that's incredible when you consider how many acting Emmys that series won.
Well, go ahead and throw this out there, Jed. So in chat we got, how do you say it? Gold Ducat? Ducat? Better watch what I say. YouTube's going to come out for me.
Okay.
Star Trek, Deep Space. Okay, maybe I should
I'll be honest.
wearing my glasses on air.
I'll be honest. I haven't seen Deep Space Nine. As I haven't seen a whole lot of television. Star Trek. That is one of my my big gaps in understanding of villains and TV and stuff. I've seen several Star Trek movies. I've seen a few episodes of different shows. I don't know who Gul Dukat is, but hey, if you say he's great, I might have to check him out now.
I'm gonna Google it. How about if you can find a video about him, send us a message through either Twitter or our email.
Yeah, email us or
at the world or not at
the world of cinematics at gmail.com. Message us on Twitter at of cinematics. And then, I don't know, we have an Instagram. I don't know. I handle Twitter. I don't understand Instagram.
I am the one over that, but I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm an old generation, I guess you could say.
Yep.
You know. Ooh. Okay. As far as that's a not bad picture. Oh, I'm gonna see if I can find a good picture for you, Jed.
All right, let's see what we're working with.
I'm trying to find a really good one. That's an old one.
Also, Aaron, I appreciate your joke. I'm looking through the chat. I don't know if you're talking about Homelander or Joffrey Baratheon being Stefan, but either way, very, very flattering comparison.
For those who don't know, Stefan's not only part of the podcast, but he's also one of our directors.
Mm-hmm. And he actually does bear a bit of a passing resemblance to both Homelander and Joffrey Baratheon.
He's a mix.
I hope he is, not hiding the evil that Homelander does inside. I certainly know he's not as evil as Joffrey Baratheon, because Joffrey Baratheon doesn't hide the evil.
I mean, well, you never know. Stefan, yeah, he hides it pretty well.
Yeah, so if anyone, he'd be Homelander. But again, I sure hope he's not. I share a room with him.
You're just gonna see some laser beams later. Don't worry.
Oh gosh.
Don't worry about it. Forget about it.
Oh no.
Is this the picture? Yeah.
All right, we got a picture of Gul Dukat. Hope I'm saying that right.
See, I gotta know what Star Trek should we watch? Is it the old stuff, the new stuff?
I am told to you should start with the the original series. I'm told that apparently the order that most places have them listed is the wrong order. The episode that's listed as first, The Cage, I'm told it's actually supposed to be like fifth in the runtime, and if you watch it first, it messes everything up. I don't know. I just report what I hear from Robert Burnett or from Red Letter Media about Star Trek. I don't know a whole lot about it.
All right. Well, I don't know if this is like a great picture of him then, but
okay.
Doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad.
Yeah, does look interesting.
Okay, so Aaron said original, Generations, and Deep Space Nine is the order.
Okay.
Aaron, we'll have to sit down and you're gonna have to force me to watch it by like Nerf gunpoint.
Hey, if what they say is anything, I've heard there's incredible stuff in especially the Next Generation. So long as you start at like season 3.
I just realized I need to get rid of this little guy.
Yeah.
This little guy right here.
He's just he's like a weeping angel, always watching you.
They almost made it on the list, guys. If you're a Doctor Who fan,
the
they
Weeping
almost
Angels.
made it.
Yep, they.
But they're
have
not
so
like
many great
bad
villains.
guys, though. They were creatures.
They're-
That was the
They're
argument.
this force of nature. They're
Not the argument.
yeah.
The discussion.
But again,
We didn't argue.
oh my gosh, they're so scary. I've only seen 2 episodes of Doctor Who. One is the introduction of the Weeping Angels. They're good.
That's great.
They're effective.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and close since I'm starving. I have food
All right.
waiting for me, and Jed's food's probably cold.
Yes, I also have food.
But not the Hannibal Lecter kind. We need to go to that restaurant.
Well, I mean, I can neither confirm nor deny. Yeah, I'm having an old friend for dinner, okay?
Certainly ain't me.
All right. Well,
All
we'll close out so that we can eat our food. But in the meantime, want to let you know in advance, because we didn't last time. We are next week going to be tackling, since we did the best TV villains this time, next week is going to be the best TV heroes. We're mostly done finishing our list, but already we've had to cut some really great ones, and we've still got some great ones we need to cut from the list to get it down to where we want it to be. Yeah, no spoilers, but it's going to be, I don't know. I don't want to say it's great. You like it? You like it so far, Robert? What we got?
I like it so far. I'm looking forward to when we talk about see what we want to do with it.
All right.
But
cool.
before we close, also we have a Christmas pretzels shorts. Aaron, this is you, buddy. This is for you. For those of you who don't know, Aaron Mead, he has a webtoon series called Pretzels, and he actually just released a book as well for a little children's story for anyone who wants to get it and get it off Amazon.
Look at that.
But really good. I like it. And we're doing a little Christmas short that will be posted soon. Hopefully I can get it done before Christmas, but we'll see. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that and share with your friends. Comment down below what your favorite villain is.
Subscribe, share it to your friends. Go ahead and like this video. And spoiler, but next time you see us, I'll already have seen Spider-Man No Way Home. So
I'll be seeing it the
sucks
next day.
yeah, suck on that, Robert. Look at me. I'm special.
Oh, look, you Mr. Superior in your throne room.
Yes, I am.
All right, signing off. See you guys.